brothers and sisters, I'm Hunter, and today I'm going to do a video about affection to reach my generation. My generation is the ages around 9 to 14. So we did a Monday night study about affection. So I just put it in to AI, I edited it all. If it got anything wrong, I edited it and added a few things. And Dad helped me with it. So to explain this to my generation, so reword it and that. So this one's going to be about, do you ever feel loving affection? The greatest secret being hidden from our generation. Have you ever noticed that everybody seems angry these days? People get offended over the smallest thing. Families argue, friends stop talking. People cancel each other online. Social media is full of outrage, yeah. Everyone seems anxious, lonely, or frustrated. So here's a question. What happened? Scripture actually gives the answer. The greatest problem facing the world isn't money or politics or technology. The greatest problem is that people have lost affection. Not romance, not crushes, not feelings, real affection. Tender-hearted love. The kind of love that naturally wants the very best for another person. When the scripture speaks about love, it isn't just talking about butterflies in your stomach or emotions that come and go. It is talking about behavior. Real affection shows itself. It can be seen, it can be heard. It shows in your behavior if you feel loving, tender-hearted affection in your heart. It'll show in your behavior because it says in scripture, and Yahushua says it, how you think in your heart is how you'll be, and Yahushua doesn't lie. Everything he says is the truth. The only truth, nothing else is the truth except what Yahushua says. It's either Yahushua, the truth, or demons, lies. It can change the way you speak, the way you treat your parents, the way you treat your brother or sister, the way you treat your classmates, the way you treat complete strangers. Because it says in scripture, love your neighbor as yourself, and that's also one of the 2 royal laws. Love Yahushua more than anyone and love your neighbor as yourself, which are complete strangers. Our neighbor is everyone in the world. Just our brother, our sister, our friend, complete strangers are our neighbor, and we have to love them more than ourselves. Love everyone. Forgive everyone. That's what Yahushua did. Affection isn't something you simply feel. It is something you choose. You have to choose to have affection. Just because you're friends with someone, or they're your brother or sister, you don't just feel that. Like, you have a connection because you're related, or you're friends, but you have to choose to have the tender-hearted, real affection that you want the best for them. You never hate them. You have to love them. You always hope for the best. The Hebrew language paints an amazing picture. Affection means to choose someone, to cling to them, to stay attached no matter what. In other words, scriptural love isn't silent or passive. It doesn't wait until it feels like it. It moves, it serves, it forgives, it helps, it encourages, it stays loyal, and it refuses to walk away. That is why the scripture says love is patient and kind. 2 of the fruits of the Spirit, which is how we behave. That's why it's there. Love doesn't seek its own way. Love behaves differently. Now compare that with the world around us. From the time we're little, the world teaches us almost the exact opposite. Because the world is demons, so they'll do the exact opposite of what Yahushua says. Yahushua says, love them with all your heart. Love them as you love yourself. Which you don't love yourself at all, but love them second. Yahushua, love them most, and just love them more than you love yourself. The world says, protect yourself, don't trust anybody, don't let people know how you really feel, don't cry, don't look weak, don't get revenge, use people before they use you. Always put yourself first. If somebody hurts you, cut them off. If somebody disagrees with you, fight back. Win the argument, protect your image, protect your pride, protect your feelings. Can you see what's happening? Little by little, our hearts become harder. We build walls around ourselves. We stop letting people get close. We become experts at protecting ourselves, but terrible at affectionate loving. We listen to the frontal lobe all the time, protecting ourselves like the demons tell us to. That's why so many people today feel lonely, even though they're surrounded by thousands of people online, surrounded by heaps of strangers all the time. I mean, you walk around, there's strangers. You go to work, there's strangers. You go to school, there's strangers. Scripture says Yahushua came to restore something, not just to forgive sins, not just to get us into his eternal kingdom. He came to restore our hearts with love, affection, tender-hearted love, not the fake one. Think about Yahushua for a moment. He's our creator and Messiah. He is Elohim. Yahushua wasn't cold, he wasn't distant. He hugged children, he cried, he forgave enemies. He washed dirty feet. He healed people who hated him. He gave his own life for people who rejected him. That isn't weakness. That is the greatest strength of manliness the world has ever seen. He gave his own life and forgave the people who beat him, so he didn't even look like himself. Beat him and nailed his feet and hands to a stake and impaled him. The scripture says, love one another as I have loved you. So we need to love one another as Yahushua loves us. Yahushua loves us more than anything. Anything you can think of, he loves us more. It doesn't say in scripture, argue with one another, beat one another, compete with one another, show off to one another. It says, love one another. It's a command. Paul even tells us to be kindly affectionate, love to one another. Think about those two words. Kindly affectionate. Would your friends describe you like that way? Would your family, would your teacher, would your little brother or sister? Because that's what Yahushua is trying to produce in every one of us. Kindly affectionate love, tender-hearted love. Now here's something really interesting. The whole scripture is actually telling one giant story. Genesis begins with a marriage. Revelation ends with a marriage. Everything in between is preparing a bride for her bridegroom. The tabernacle, the temple, the wilderness, the kings, the prophets, the sacrifices, everything points to one amazing picture. Yahushua wants a people who genuinely love him. Not just people who know lots of scripture facts, not people who simply go to meetings, not people who sing songs. Don't just, like you might have seen a few times if you've watched Monday or Tuesday, they used to be Wednesday night meetings. People are just sitting there, no emotion, just sitting there with disgusting looks. That's coming to the meeting but not doing anything. Not people who sing songs. Singing songs isn't worship. Obedient behavior is worship. Disobedient behavior is worship, but not to Yahushua. That's to demons, to Satan, to yourself, to your frontal lobe. Not Yahushua. That's obedient behavior. It's worship to Yahushua. People whose hearts have become attached to him, people who trust him, people who obey him, people who have become like him, who mirror his behavior. He could have just said to everyone, because he was Elohim when he came, and he could have said, worship me, and that would be fine, because he's Elohim. But he wanted us to mirror off of his behavior, so he was telling them to worship Elohim, not himself. He was telling them to worship Yahuwah, which they now know as Yahushua. He transformed. So he wanted us to mirror off of his behavior. So that's what we have to do. That's the real goal of Scripture. So why does Yahushua allow hard times? Why does he correct us and discipline us? Why doesn't he simply leave us alone? Because every trial reveals what's inside us. The self, the opinions, the points of view, the little judgments. Every difficult person teaches us patience. Every annoying person teaches us forgiveness. Every correction removes another little piece of pride, ego. Every act of obedience softens our heart. Little by little, Yahusha is removing the armor that we've built around ourselves, the self that we protect, the frontal lobe that we protect and don't want to kill. He's making us like children again, spiritually. Physically, yeah, but spiritually we have to be like children. Children naturally love. We have to choose to have the tender-hearted love, affection, pure love. Children naturally trust and forgive. Adults often learn to stop doing those things. Yahusha teaches us how to become childlike again. Now here's something you need to understand. The enemy knows this. Demons. It says in Scripture, Paul said, we are not fighting real people, we're fighting spirits in high places. If someone comes up to you like, who wants to argue, that's still a demon. It's working through someone, but it's still a demon. We're fighting demons, so don't judge people. Demons know that if they can get you angry, offended, jealous, proud, self-centered, or constantly thinking about yourself, basically the opposite of the fruits of spirit, the fruits of evil, your affection starts disappearing, your joy fades, your peace fades, your kindness disappears, and suddenly you don't feel like loving anymore. That's exactly what they want, because a cold heart is much easier to control than a joyful one that's listening to Yahusha, that's killed the self. That's why the Scripture tells us to guard our minds. Every thought matters. Check every thought, it says in Scripture. That's why we need to read the Word, read the Scripture. Otherwise, we have nothing to check it with. I'll just check it with the world. No, because that will mean, do that, it's fine. But no, check it with the Scripture. Check it with what Yahusha says, what Yahusha would do. Would Yahusha judge someone? No. Would Yahusha self-center and deviate the conversation to himself? No. That's why you have to check it with him, otherwise you might start doing those stuff. Because that's exactly what those wicked demons want. Those evil things, the frontal lobe, the self. Because the Scripture, that's why the Scripture tells us to guard our minds. Every thought matters, because what fills your mind will come out of your behavior. What you let into your heart is how you will behave. It says it in Scripture, which means it's the truth. The real battle isn't just outside you. It's inside your thinking, in your frontal lobe, yourself. So here's the biggest question of all. Who will sit on the throne of your heart? Yourself, your frontal lobe, demonic, evil, or Yahusha Elohim? Because every single day you make that decision. When you forgive, you're choosing Yahusha and obedience, loving, affection, kindness. But when you stay angry, you're choosing yourself, demons, wickedness. When you encourage someone, you're choosing Yahusha. When you tear someone down, you're choosing yourself. When you tear someone down to build up your ego, you're choosing yourself. When you obey his word, you're choosing Yahusha. When you obey him, a good, obedient behavior. But when you follow your own opinions instead, you're choosing yourself, and it's going to fail. Listening to yourself and doing it your own way is going to fail every time. Yahusha's way is the only way. The whole Scripture ends with one incredible invitation. The Spirit and the bride say, "Come." That isn't just talking about the end of time. It's an invitation today. An invitation to let Yahusha transform your heart with the Spirit and the fire baptism. Get it all out. There's no point in washing yourself as water baptism, physical. Yeah, you're clean now. But is your heart, is your spirit, are you still listening to yourself? Have you killed it yet? Or are you still listening to the frontal lobe, demonic thoughts? That's just cleaning the outside. Now we need the water of the Word to wash us, the Spirit and the fire baptism. Are you going to let Yahusha remove your ego, your fear, your selfishness, self, worshipping the self? Are you going to let Yahusha teach you genuine affection, loving kindness? Because the greatest miracle Yahusha performs isn't just simply changing the way you spend eternity, not changing water into wine, not resurrecting. It's changing the kind of person you become while you're still here. The hidden treasure of the whole scripture isn't secret knowledge. It isn't prophecy. It isn't information. It's transformation. Washing your heart, yourself, killing it. Following Yahusha on the stake, grabbing your torture stake and walking with him. Get to the boot camp, the quarry. You can't jump the fence. You have to go through them to make it. And keeping the foxes out. It's becoming someone who loves Yahusha with all your heart, all of it. Because then you'll behave like that. And loves other people the way he first loved you. That is the meaning of true affection, true loving affection. It's amazing. You just have to love Yahusha more than anything. And hate demons. Hate what Yahusha hates and love what Yahusha loves. And my young generation desperately needs to be told the truth because the older generations have lied to us. And then the older just lied. Hidden their real fears and addictions from us and thrown devices and games at us so we'll get addicted and miserable and won't notice that their lives are failing. Their relationships are crumbling, and the most important thing, we won't notice that there's no love or affection. That's definitely happened with my old mother, Amy. It's disgusting. I emailed her a thing, sending her a video about there's not much time left, and she just starts throwing, oh no, I don't believe in that stuff, spits in my face, and then starts accusing Dad of stuff. I didn't say a single thing about him. No love at all, but she still decides to say that, and when I call her out on it, she just says, nothing will stop me from loving you. It's not true loving affection. It's not. They just hide it and trying to make me go down there. I'm not doing that. I'm not giving in to that self-worship and disgusting behavior. And we won't notice there's no love or affection, which we all want and need, especially while our minds and bodies are still growing and maturing. And that's why we need to get off the games and devices. They're stopping us from noticing there's no love and stopping us from giving love, loving affection, pure, tender-hearted love. Because our mind has only physically matured at the age of 25. So in my generation, we don't know how to restrain ourselves, not self-control. That's why we need to learn it and get off the devices. We need to get off it and show affection, tender-hearted, loving affection. More than anything else, Yahusha gives us more love than anyone else, anything else. Nothing gives more love than him. So that was, do you feel loving affection, brothers and sisters? We've got to stay in the Word. Bye.